I'm in charge.
Allow me to clarify. In a sequentially ranked hierarchy based on level of critical importance, the disparity between us is too vast to quantify. Agent Stone?
I mean, he's not Eggman, but he still looks like the best part of that movie compared to... Ah!
Oh, come on.
So, name's Dave with WatchMojo, and today we're looking at the Times Hollywood actors butchered video game characters.
You've been stealing from criminals. Now, are you the same as Sagat and Bison? Or am I right?
Number 10. Sid Haig as Roy Corraine, The House of the Dead 2.
Too bad.
In the House of the Dead games, Dr. Roy Corraine goes from genius to insane after creating a zombie virus. During his cutscenes, the mad scientist presents himself as intimidating, confident, and driven, despite the poor voice acting. Those characteristics were absent when Sid Haig played Corraine in The House of the Dead 2. Instead of being intimidating, the Doctor's weird physicality and exaggerated facial expressions made him come off like an awkward creep. Haig doesn't help matters by delivering dialogue like he's saying it for the first time. Don't want to do that, you might screw it up.
I am a complete and utter failure.
See what I mean? Ironically, his worst line readings are the ones that were clearly recorded after the movie was shot. Haig was only on screen for a few minutes, yet still left a sour impression in an already terrible film.
Should have all been restored. This can't be. It's ridiculous.
Number 9. Christina Loken as Rain, BloodRayne.
Ever since I got here, there are these noises that persist in my head.
Uebol's second disaster work on this list, BloodRayne saw vampire hunters reign in the time period that doesn't even show up in the game series. While Loken is far from the worst performer in the film, her reserved performance was at odds with her character's badass reputation. She repeatedly lacked the energy and confidence to back up her tough performance, made even worse by her rather sloppy fight choreography. Her video game counterpart radiated confidence and could intimidate people with just one look. Rain was a one-woman army, and her style was nearly flawless. This version of Rain started with her caged up in a carnival sideshow. This was doomed from the start.
Look, the monster!
Number 8. John Fu as Jin Kazama, Tekken.
That's all you need to know. You know what? Forget it.
Jin Kazama is one of the most serious protagonists you'll ever meet. He's stoic and a powerful fighter who's completely focused on bringing down his evil family. Between his intense schedule of fighting and brooding, Jin rarely has time to crack a smile. So, when we saw him grin on the silver screen, we knew something was wrong.
Sorry, I was just admiring your toast.
In addition to being more laid back, John Fu plays Jin like he's a whiny teenager. If he wasn't complaining, he was 100% focused on his mission, to hook up with girls. While Fu's fight choreography is decent, unlike Loken's, it doesn't make up for his melodramatic performance. His portrayal turned the edgy warrior we loved into an angsty fighter we rooted against.
How's my tap?
You're up to 350. Tapped out.
Number 7. Jake Gyllenhaal as Prince Destin, Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time.
Well, in the meantime, I have a gift for you.
It was already bad enough that Hollywood chose to whitewash the role of the Persian prince by casting Jake Gyllenhaal, but his performance solidified that his casting was the wrong choice. In the games, the prince had always been a flawed character, but his pride and sense of honor always balanced out his negative qualities.
Malik, this is madness. You have to get out of here. Save yourself and what's left of your people.
When Gyllenhaal took the role, his obnoxious tendencies outweighed his noble qualities. He constantly talks down to Princess Tamina and even jokes around when he's in a deadly duel with his brother. Although Gyllenhaal may have been going for a lighthearted approach, he just makes the prince seem like a jerk. Though Jake has since admitted he wasn't right for the role.
Your whole plan is suicide!
My brother murdered my father and left his blood on my hands. If I die trying to set that right, then so be it!
Number 6. Tara Reid as Aline Cedric, Alone in the Dark.
I thought you were dead, you asshole!
After Professor Aline Cedric is brought to the dangerous island in Alone in the Dark: The New Nightmare, she's separated from her partner. She takes on dangerous forces with wit, sarcasm, and a headstrong personality. The only thing that Tara Reid got right about her character in the movie adaptation was her name. Most of Reid's line delivery is devoid of emotion. Whether she was angry, scared, or sad about her co-worker that was recently murdered, her tone barely changed. Reid's clumsy line delivery also made us hard to believe that she was really a professor. Her poor portrayal of Eileen's character was rough enough to earn Reed a Razzie Award for Worst Actress.
The app kind of used constellations to pinpoint a geographical location, but I don't think we could zero in more than maybe 100-mile radius.
Number 5. Dennis Hopper as King Koopa, aka Bowser. Super Mario Bros.
You can't get rid of him!
See you later, alligator.
We'll give the late Dennis Hopper some credit. Even after reading the awful Super Mario Bros. Script, he's still committed to delivering each and every line. Unfortunately, Hopper's bizarre approach made him stand out as the worst of the cast. He exaggerates every sentence, makes ridiculous acting choices, and chews every bit of scenery he can find.
Do you know what I love about mud? It's clean and it's dirty at the same time.
Although Bowser was eventually portrayed as dramatic, he can also be legitimately threatening when he wants to be. The only time Hopper scares us is when he was trying to seduce Daisy. Ugh. We're sorry, Mr. Hopper, but the Bowser performance we were looking for is in another castle.
Don't fight it. You know you've always been uncomfortable in the human world, and you've at least suspected that you were different.
Number 4. Mark Wahlberg as Max Payne and Mila Kunis as Mona Sachs. Max Payne.
My partner was killed too. We're both looking for the same person.
Yeah, you.
The Max Payne franchise produced 2 exceptional noir characters. There was Max, a hardened vigilante with a bitter sense of humor, and Mona Sachs, a cold-hearted and unflappable assassin. Unfortunately, both characters were horribly miscast. Marky Mark Wahlberg's take on Max feels no different than any other generic Wahlberg character. He doesn't even try to replicate his namesake's trademark wordplay.
I know Natasha called you. You know what happened to her?
His bland performance makes Max look disinterested in everyone and everything. On the opposite end, Mila Kunis gave Mona more vulnerability. While her approach was understandable, it wasn't true to the cold nature of her video game counterpart. Although both actors normally nail their roles, their misguided interpretation of these noir characters really missed the mark.
You're not done yet.
Number 3. Chris Klein as Charlie Nash, Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li.
I love this job.
Kristen Cruick's uninspired performance of the fierce Chun-Li was bad. The inconsistent Irish accent of Neil McDonough, brought to the legendary M. Bison, was worse, but even they were overshadowed by Chris Klein's quote-unquote take on Charlie Nash. In the games, Nash is a cool and calm fighter with a strong sense of justice. Klein loses his cool as soon as he walks on screen. From that point on, every line he delivers is obnoxious and over the top. His performance is so out there that it feels like he's in a completely different film than his co-stars.
An irate pole dancer not happy with her tip sets off Armageddon.
In a cast filled with lackluster Street Fighters, Klein is the most deserving of a game over screen.
We're out.
Hey, wait a minute, Maya. That's it?
Number 2. Jean-Claude Van Damme as Colonel Guile, Street Fighter.
And I'm going to kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass so hard
that the next Bison wannabe is gonna feel it.
Just in case the double American flag tattoos didn't tip you off, Street Fighter's Guile is meant to be the patriotic all-American warrior. While he's also known as a disciplined military man who never loses sight of his mission, his American patriotism has always been key to his character. So, which American actor did they get to portray him? The Belgian Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh yes, I can. Just take the hostages out. If I'm not topside in 15 minutes, evacuate without me.
Yeah. Van Damme's stick accent and stilted line delivery makes it impossible for us to buy that he's American. To make matters worse, he plays Guile as a cocky and unprofessional military colonel. He even hits on Chun-Li while he's on duty. Van Damme's terrible acting choices didn't come close to justifying his baffling casting.
But only if you wear that dress.
I mean, Van Damme is known as the Muscles from Brussels. I mean, did the casting department take the day off or something and just pick his name out of a hat? Well, while I try to figure that out, here's a few honorable mentions.
When we get outside with our money, we'll call you on this, tell you where your guns are.
If you set me up, I will find you and I will burn that building to the ground around you.
You'll be out of air in an hour. You're going back to the ship.
You disobey my order and I'll have you court-martialed.
Like I care.
Number 1. Husetta Vanda as Sindel, Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Is that any way to treat your mother?
My mother's dead.
As soon will be her daughter.
On top of butchering her character within seconds, Vanda was supposed to introduce Sindel with a bone-chilling taunt. But the incredible over-the-top way she delivered her first line made Sindel an instant joke. Take a look.
Mother. You're alive. Too bad you will die.
When Vanda wasn't devouring the scene with her exaggerated performance, she struggled to give us convincing fight scenes or emotions. Her take on Sindel doesn't come close to doing the vicious, complex, and powerful Mortal Kombat character justice. While Brian Thompson's performance as Shao Kahn was also rather hammy, he at least captured the intimidating physical presence of the character. Vanda failed to portray even one aspect of her video game counterpart correctly, and did more damage to Sindel than a brutal fatality ever could. And there's one more point I need to make. Milla Jovovich in the Resident Evil franchise. She doesn't play a main character, instead she butchers every other video game character in that series. They make everyone look incompetent to make her look like some sort of super badass super soldier. And it just butchers everything about that series. I could go on all day about that, but that's the end of the video. So be sure to subscribe and check out this video over here for more stuff.